Welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to go through rolling out a slab on a slab roller. There's a lot of nuance to this, so I'm going to try to cover as much of that as possible. Most slab rollers either use canvas or a slab mat. Most of the time they are two pieces of material sandwiched together, but in some scenarios we will actually have one piece of material that's doubled over on itself. Ours has two pieces of canvas. We want to sandwich those directly on top of each other, and we want to send a few inches, probably 4 or 5 inches, through the slab roller. Our slab roller is not directional, so we can feed this in from either side, but if you're using your own slab roller or slab roller from a studio, you want to check the top plates of the slab roller to see if they have a directional based arrow on them. So I'm going to take this piece of canvas and I'm going to pull the top layer over, leaving a bottom and a piece that's wrapped over the top of the slab roller. I'm using just a piece of clay here. I would suggest to you, if you're just starting out, that you just cut a flat piece of clay from your block of clay, or if you're using reclaimed clay or local clay or something like that, you would wedge your clay into a homogeneous piece. If you don't know what wedging is, you can refer to one of my previous videos, and make that into more or less like a log. And that log we're going to place widthwise in here to start with. My clay is about 1 inch thick here, and so the rule of thumb for these machines is that you don't want to set the machine any more than half the thickness of the material that you're putting through. We don't want to go from 1 inch to 1/8 of an inch. We want to go 1 inch to 1/2 an inch to 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch. So we may be rolling this through multiple times to get our end result. If you are using a piece of clay that's excessively thick, you can sort of take your hand and gently coax and pound that down so that you don't have to step this machine down 1,000,000 times. I've just gently pounded mine down. I'm going to set both of my thickness adjusters to 1/2 an inch, which is about half the thickness of my piece of clay. Some of these machines only have one knob that you have to turn. It sets both of them. You just have to sort of like look at what you're doing. So I'm sending mine through widthwise, and that is going to lengthen this piece of clay. If I put it through long ways, it's going to make it really long and skinny, but I'm trying to make something that's a little bit more of a square. So I'm going to place this up against the rollers. I'm going to close this canvas. And the reason I encourage you to send through 5 inches is so that our number one goal is to keep our hands away from this roller. No one intentionally rolls their hands through the roller, but it definitely happens. So if we keep one hand on this canvas and one hand on the arm or the wheel to roll this through, it is impossible for me to have my hands anywhere near the roller on the slab roller. So I'm applying a little bit of pressure here with my hand, and I'm rolling the wheel in the direction that I want my clay to travel. So now I've sent this through, I'm going to open it up, and we can see that I have a uniform 1/2 inch thick piece of clay. If I want to continue to make this thinner, I'm going to actually flip this over, place it up against the roller, and then this was set to 1/2 an inch, so I'm going to go down to 1/4 of an inch. The reason I flip my clay over is that the top roller somehow applies more pressure than the bottom roller, and I will get these lines on my slab. So I think it's important to flip and potentially rotate my slab as I send it through. So I'm going to close this up again, double check my measurements, and I'm going to send my clay back through the roller. And I'm going to do the same process. I'm applying some pressure to this side, and I'm rolling this wheel in the direction that I want my clay to go. Use my squeaky slab roller. All right, so now I'm gonna open this up again and we're gonna see that now my clay has become even thinner. So now I'm gonna go through to my final thickness, which is halfway in between 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch. That's how thick I like to make my personal work. So I'm actually gonna flip and rotate this. I get the most square proportion or rectangular proportion piece of clay possible, rather than if I sent it back through this way, I would get something that's very elongated. I'm going to set my slab roller halfway in between 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to close my canvas, making sure that I have several inches on the other side in order to apply pressure, and then I'm going to send it through. All right, and so here we are at our final thickness. The only thing that I'll have to do prior to working with this piece of clay is compress it thoroughly on both sides so that I don't get any cracking when I go to build whatever I'm going to build from this slab.